My coworker threw a party the day her husband's mother died, and I was the only one who knew. I never thought a simple office job could put me in the middle of something so morally complicated. I've always been someone who keeps his distance from drama. I go to work, do my tasks, stay polite with everyone, and leave. I never liked gossip or interfering in other people's personal lives. But life has a way of pulling you into situations you never asked for, where staying neutral becomes almost impossible, and every choice feels like the wrong one. It all started with a coworker named Jenny. She was outgoing, social, and always surrounded by people in the office. Everyone liked her because she was confident, expressive, and easy to talk to. She was married to a man named Mark, who was completely different from her. Mark was quiet, respectful, and emotionally reserved. He didn't talk much, but when he did, he was thoughtful and calm. On the surface, they looked like a normal couple, but there was tension underneath that slowly became impossible to ignore. One thing about Jenny always stood out. She constantly complained about her mother-in-law. At work, she would talk about arguments, disagreements, and emotional stress caused by her. According to Jenny, her husband's mother was controlling, critical, and always interfering in their marriage. Most of us just listened without thinking too deeply. We only heard Jenny's version of the story, and no one really knew what the reality was behind closed doors. Mark rarely talked about his personal life. He was polite and calm whenever I saw him, but he didn't share much about his family. Over time, I started considering him a friend rather than just an acquaintance. Still, I kept my distance from their marital issues. I believed it wasn't my place to judge or interfere in something so personal. That belief stayed strong until a major event changed everything. Mark's mother had been sick for a long time. Everyone knew her condition wasn't improving, so her passing wasn't a surprise. But when it finally happened, the atmosphere at work changed completely. There was a quiet sadness everywhere. Even people who didn't know her personally felt the emotional weight of the situation. Grief has a strange way of affecting people indirectly, even those who are not directly involved. I attended the funeral to support Mark. When I saw him, I immediately realized how deeply the loss had affected him. He looked completely broken. His posture was heavy, his eyes were red, and he seemed emotionally drained in a way I can't easily describe. It was clear that something inside him had collapsed. I didn't know what to say to him, so I simply stayed close and offered silent support. Jenny was also present at the funeral. On the surface, she appeared composed and supportive. She stood beside Mark, speaking softly and comforting relatives. If you didn't know the background, you would assume she was grieving like everyone else. But something about her energy felt different to me. It didn't feel like sadness. It felt controlled, almost like she was performing a role rather than genuinely experiencing loss. The day after the funeral, I overheard something at work that completely changed my perspective. Jenny was talking with coworkers about going out that evening. At first, it seemed normal, like people trying to cope with stress. But then I heard the reason behind it. They weren't going out to grieve or support each other. They were going out to celebrate. And the reason for that celebration was Mark's mother's death. For a moment, I thought I had misunderstood. My brain refused to accept what I had just heard. But the more I listened, the clearer it became. There was excitement in Jenny's voice. Not sadness, not emotional exhaustion. Excitement, as if something heavy had been lifted off her life. I remember sitting there completely frozen, trying to process how someone could feel that way about such a serious loss in their spouse's family. After that, I couldn't focus for the rest of the day. My thoughts kept going back to Mark. I imagined him at home, grieving alone, completely unaware of what was being planned on the other side. I started questioning myself. If I were in his position, would I want to know the truth? Would I want someone to tell me that my partner had reacted this way to my mother's death? The honest answer was yes, but knowing the answer didn't make the decision any easier. The problem was that telling him would not just give him information. It could destroy his entire marriage. It could break his already fragile emotional state even further. And staying silent meant carrying guilt. I was stuck between two painful choices, neither of which felt right. That night I barely slept. I kept replaying scenarios in my head, trying to find a version where no one got hurt, but there wasn't one. Eventually, I decided to meet Mark. I invited him over just to check on him. When he arrived, he looked worse than before. Grief had completely consumed him. We sat together and talked casually at first, but the conversation naturally shifted toward his mother. His voice kept breaking as he spoke about her. It was clear he was struggling to process the loss, and I could feel the emotional weight in the room growing heavier. At one point, Mark mentioned that Jenny didn't seem to be grieving in the same way he was. He said she felt emotionally distant. He didn't directly accuse her of anything, but I could hear suspicion in his voice. Then he asked me if I had noticed anything unusual at work. That question hit me hard because I knew exactly what he was really asking without him saying it directly. It was the moment where I had to choose between truth and silence. I had the chance to tell him everything. I could have explained what I overheard, the celebration plans, the attitude, everything. But I didn't. I couldn't bring myself to do it while he was sitting in that emotional state, so I softened the truth. I avoided details and acted like it wasn't as serious as it sounded. I told myself I was protecting him, but deep down, I wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing or just avoiding responsibility. The next day, Jenny confronted me at work. She was angry and demanded to know what I had told her husband. I refused to answer directly, which made the situation worse. Eventually, I confronted her about what I had overheard, the celebration of her mother-in-law's death. She didn't deny it. She just stared at me silently before walking away. After that, everything became tense and uncomfortable. And even now, I still wonder if I made the right choice, or if I simply chose the least painful version of the truth.